freaking Goodyear endurance tires that we just put on. So, all right. So go ahead, Hyde, close it out.
As always, we hope to see you out here.
Out here. Bye. So that's how the day started. I just got that video live. I stayed up, I got up around midnight or 1 last night and made that live. And in the meantime, Heidi's back here cooking up a storm. She's throwing together some breakfast for us. And today is nice, but it's cold.
Chilly.
It's 69 in the RV now. It was 61. We slept well at that temperature. But as soon as you get up, it's chilly. It's really, really chilly.
What have you been up to?
I've been riding on a daydream.
It was 40 whenever I got up.
Not in the RV.
40 outside.
Yes, 40 outside. Can you imagine it being 40 in here? Woo!
Yeah.
I think the lowest we've ever had it in here, and we were sleeping. 56. No, it was 54.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was definitely 54. I remember clearly that number because it was cold. We have one propane tank that's empty. We had somebody ask us that, why when you have electric are you running on propane? The only thing we run on propane is the hot water tank occasionally. And that is, hey, I want to take a shower, and I want to take a shower now. It's kind of late. We'll turn on the hot water tank element, electric element. We don't leave it on all the time. I'll talk about that in a second. And then we turn on the gas. You can turn on your gas and your electric element at the same time. It recovers faster. You have two heating sources. You have that element inside there heating up the water, and you have the propane inside, or the propane flame blowing on the tank and trying to heat it up that way. So the other thing we'll do is sometime that exact same thing. If one person's in the shower and the next person wants to take their shower relatively quick, it recovers faster again. So I'm sure the reason that I wanted to allude back to that hot water tank element, the electric part, people are probably saying, well, I just leave mine on all the time. You can. I just prefer not to. I don't want to leave my TV on all the time. I don't leave my computer on all the time. I don't leave my lights on all the time.
A lot of times, though, like, it could be 2 hours later and you still have at least warm water. Sometimes it's still hot.
Right. And the reason that I don't want that stuff to be on is everything has a life cycle. The more you use it, the more it's going to wear out. With the hot water tank element and that anode rod, I just hate that whole combination. We'll be replacing that element, I'm sure, within the next, I don't know, year. That's the way I think about it. No, we replaced the anode rod, but not the hot water tank element.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
On the old RV we did. And the reason is because we do have softened water. And
you get some buildup from that.
Sometimes there's a little bit of salt still inside that tank whenever you do your cleansing. So sometimes we'll introduce a little bit of salt water. Even though you can't taste it or anything, we try to flush it as much as possible following the instructions. I have a feeling, just like at home, there's a little bit of salt involved there, but hopefully it lasts longer than a year. I would like to see that. I don't want to spend, I think it's probably $40 for a hot water tank element. I'd have to be buying that, once a year. But hey, if I have to, I have to. Until I find a better way. And I don't even want to get in the whole conversation of instant hot water tanks, because I don't like them. And that's just my personal preference. Maybe something will change my mind on that. What you just heard about us wanting showers relatively quick and recovery times relatively quick, that's the biggest disadvantage to a hot water tank like we have. Other than that, I don't have a problem with any of that. And the thing is, again, I didn't want to talk about it, but with those instant hot water tanks, the water going in the tank, if it's like it is now, I mean, it's pretty cold. And like when we were at the house, that hose sat on the ground and the temperatures were getting into the upper 30s. Boy, you want to talk about killing, a temperature producing device like a hot water tank, and especially an instant hot water tank. Man, it'd have to use some serious propane to take, 30 degree, I shouldn't say that because it is flowing, So let's say 35-degree water that's coming in and putting it up to where it's 70 or so degrees. I got a little fly on me. We've been trying to kill this fly all day, so now it's in the. Oh, he got away. Couldn't get my fly swatter fast enough. Oh well. So yeah, we're going to enjoy the day today. I don't know if we're going to have anything great to tell you. We're a little excited on one aspect. I should say excited, because I don't know, are we maybe get a little too old to be excited about things. But the Heidi's car situation, she does have somebody that's coming when we get home to look at it, and they seem pretty legit. We'll see what happens there. As far as my e-bike, I am definitely not waiting for that. That is definitely going to be shipped to Florida. I am not going to wait because it's just not worth the wait. We're going to head down to Florida, and we're going to take our time doing it. Whenever the bike shows that it's going to be delivered to the address that we have set up in Florida. Again, I have relatives all over Florida, guys. What we're going to do is just have them hold it at a terminal, and we'll go from there. We'll see what happens. But the whole idea that we're going to sit here and wait for that shipment, then all of a sudden it's not going to ship in October, it's going to ship in November. It's just, no. You know what's shipping in October? We are. We're shipping from Ohio. So our plans are definitely changing. We have reservations that were set up at certain dates on the way down, and I don't know exactly how that's going to work. We might have to cancel those and make new ones. I think the problem is, though, if we cancel one, and hopefully we can find a place. Right, that. Yeah, because if we cancel our reservation,
we might not get another.
Right. So, and you can't make another reservation when there's one already on the books.
Yeah.
So we're going to be in a weird limbo here, and we're going to learn it. We're going to see what happens. Now, worst case scenario, we have to go to a campground and pay. Right. We were planning on doing that anyways in an area that we really don't want to be here at home. So I'm not really concerned about that right now. Again, it's all a learning process. So the food's going to be kind of done here. Look I'm just famished. I'm barely surviving here, so I'm going to cut this off. Tell the camera bye, Heidi.
Bye.
And we'll pick this up later. Good morning, YouTube, and it's day whatever. It's time for us to head out. That's what day it is. I've got a few things that we need to do. How many days have it been?
5. Today's the 5th day.
We've been here 5 days? Well, I don't think we've really been counting that on the videos. So we're leaving the park. First, let's close out that whole thing. This is, and I hate to say it because I'm afraid of what might happen, even though we don't necessarily touch a whole bunch of people. I hate for everybody to know that this park is really good. It's a very nice park. I can't think of any reason you wouldn't want to visit it. It's quiet for the most part. Of course, dogs, stuff like that. Not a big deal. But no trains, no airplanes, no highways.
Traffic.
No traffic really to speak of. Every once in a while you might hear a truck that's running down the road that is next to that lake that we had walked around in the previous video. But a very well-kept park. Yes, it's older facilities. Very well kept. And I told you what I thought about that. Yeah, I liked it. I mean, the best part about it for us is that if we want to come back and visit, Ohio, this isn't but an hour and a half away from the house.
What, 45 minutes away from Mercedes and Matt?
Yeah, so it's like she just mentioned, it's about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, depending on traffic, away from our daughter and her husband and our grandson. So as far as coming back to Ohio to visit, like I said, it makes it nice because this is one of the parks that if you guys don't know, with our 1,000 Trails membership, if we felt the need to, we could come back and stay for
28 days.
no, we could stay for 5 weeks.
Oh, that's right.
For $29. So it might be something we'll look into. Again, we would have to have a good reason to come back and hang out. And I mean, during certain times of the year, Ohio is just fine. Yeah. No doubt about it. But you see the sweatshirts? I don't mind doing that occasionally, but yeah, I've been doing that every day. And sometimes the sweatshirt's not enough. And I just can't come to doing 2 things. And that's one, putting socks on. And number 2, putting a jacket on, like a leather jacket or an actual jacket. So we've got the RV mostly packed up here. Let me show you that real quick. This takes us about probably 10 minutes inside here. Yeah, 10 minutes to get it this way. We're missing a chair, obviously. That's going to be changing. Heidi definitely wants the chair in here, don't you?
Yeah.
You know why? Because she wants to have a party. That's why she wants 2 chairs. She wants a place to sit. She likes sitting in the chair occasionally too. If she starts sitting in the chair though, I'm going to have a tendency to lay on the couch and watch TV. I know that. So this is the area they're going to be working in today. So I'm sure that they'll put our slide out and they'll move our chair out of the way, not chairs. Of course, I got to secure the chair, but everything else, this is working out very well. It is so much quicker to set up and take down. I should have done that a long time ago. So, yeah, I mean, it's all nice and secure and nothing's moving. That's good. And it's just a couple of unplugs. Like I said, there's no power in the slide out. So this is basically what I do when I hook up. Of course, the cable hatch that I just added there makes it extremely nice. Just unscrew the cable from our satellite or our cell data provider. I'll mention this again because he's gotten a few calls. EasyCom LLC. This is Jesse is the gentleman I speak to out there. This is the internet that we have, and so far so good. Unlimited, unthrottled, uncapped. So we're good there. And of course, I went ahead and unplugged the Wii Boost, and it just sits in there, which is nice. Again, now that I converted over those cabinets to open, those cabinet doors, if you guys are watching this and you have a Rockwood that's like ours and you're confused, don't be. Those doors don't originally open. I had to set them up that way. And I want to make sure this doesn't fly out when we drive down the road. So we'll go ahead and put this over here, tuck it away, because our Roku's back here. I still want to do something back here to make this work a little better for us. I haven't decided how that's going to be.
Why couldn't this be
slide
brought out?
I don't know. I don't know where it's secured. Yeah, but I don't know where. Oh, because they use screws on the back side. So I'd have to figure out a different way to do that, which I'm sure I could. So this is all put away, and then the bathroom. I mean, everything. This is pretty normal. The bathroom, we just lay down stuff in here. Heidi's got the toilet open because she's going to help flush the tanks. I'll go ahead and turn on some more lights. And then the bedroom, always the disaster whenever you're traveling.
We don't make our bed.
Yeah, we don't make our bed. Usually
we don't have our parents telling us we have to make our bed.
Usually what I do in here is I will take a blanket, one big blanket, and cover everything, including our pillows. And I'll probably get back in the habit of doing that a little bit more. I suggest you guys do the same thing, especially when you don't travel that often. Maybe you only go out a couple times a year. Definitely keep your pillows covered up with a blanket when you travel, because there's a lot of dust and crap that shakes off of these cabinets, and you know, like the valance of the curtain and that might not be there because we're traveling and living in it every day. But if you have it sitting for a long period of time, it gets dusty in here. I mean, it doesn't take much. I don't know if you guys can tell, probably not. We've cleaned these vents just recently. We've got to clean them again. It don't take much for that stuff to fill up. So this is pretty much travel mode for us. The tower fan sits down here. The umbrellas are out because we've got rain in the forecast, so we want to be able to grab something in case it really starts pouring. But you can see, not a big deal. We'll go ahead and lock up our door here so it doesn't slide open. And again, this is all opened up because Heidi, she's going to help flush the toilet. So, other news, other than this. I talked about it in the past video, and I've got a lot. I've had 3 people suggest that you could get away with it and that there's ways to do it. And I even mentioned it in the video itself. And what is that I'm talking about? Well, I'm not one to shriek away from a challenge, shirk from a challenge, and see if it works and experiment and actually make it work. And what I'm talking about is airbags. You heard it right. I did a video probably a year ago, and in that video I talked about how you were not necessarily supposed to run airbags with a load leveling system of any kind for a travel trailer. And what I mean is the weight distribution bars are supposed to help you with the squat that is being exerted on the truck once the travel trailer is hooked up to it. And that is still true. And the reason is because your load that is lost, or your leveling that is lost, whenever you hook up your trailer to your truck, is lost because the weight is being transferred one place and it's being taken off in a couple of places. Whenever I hook up the trailer to the truck, the front end will come up, the back end will squat, but more importantly by far, the front end will come up. And as far as the trailer, the front end will go down and some weight will be taken off of the rear tires or the rear axle of the trailer. So the front axle has to bear a little bit more load. And of course the braking, which we're going to have looked at today at the dealer. A lot of good suggestions out there, but guys, I'm telling you, my brakes look fine. There's no grease or anything needed in there. It's fine. It's just there's something going on there. I haven't quite figured it out yet. I don't hear the electrical sound that I do on all the other brakes as I do on the front axles, and especially the front right. So more voltage is being applied there for some reason. It could be a short, an open of some kind, causing, you know, that kind of extra voltage going there. Or maybe the other 3 aren't seeing enough voltage, one way or the other. I checked every wires, all that stuff. Everything looks good on my end. The only thing I didn't do is check the ohm, the load that's going to each one, and that's kind of what I'm having them do up here. Anyways, getting back to what I was saying, whenever you take the brake capability off of like the rear axle of the trailer, because now it's kind of nose down, you know, of course you got less stability towing and you have less braking. Not only that, but of course your truck, you have less braking on the front, and you know your steering's a little bit wacky. So what I plan on doing is trying out some airbags, and the airbags are for the additional load that I'm putting in the bed of the truck. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going to load up the truck with everything that we have, and then using airbags level it to the point where it was prior to me putting all the stuff in the bed of the truck, which should be very little pressure in the airbags. Should be hardly anything at all. What that does is help me keep a couple of things. The truck from squatting near as much with all that weight in the back, and 1,100 pounds of tongue weight on the trailer, or 1,000 pounds of tongue weight on the trailer going onto the truck. Number 2, I don't want to have to change my hitch height because my truck is loaded, and that's a good chance. What I'm talking about is the hitch bar, and that's a really good chance that you'd have to do that. Now for you guys it'd be the ball height. Of course the Pro Pride hitch has got a hitch bar, not a ball. So again, the reason that I'm using the airbags, or I'm going to try to use the airbags, is because I want to keep the truck at the current hitch height that it's at after it's loaded with all the stuff, and help with a little bit of the squat that's going to happen, which is going to be more pronounced due to the fact that there's going to be weight in the bed of the truck. The truck's already going to be kind of loaded, and then I'm going to put the tongue on there and load it up even more, where prior, the way we are right now, is nothing's really squatting the truck at all until I put the hitch on there and it squats a little bit. So that's what we're going to try out, and you guys will get to see that in a future video. So on our way home, because of where we're at, we plan on stopping at Summit Racing and picking up a couple of airbags. And then I'll install them at the house. We're only talking an hour and a half, maybe 2-hour installation, me being real picky. I'm not putting an air compressor or anything like that on there right now. I just want to get airbags on there just to see what it's like. If everything seems to be really good, and at that point, I'll step up and maybe put an onboard compressor, an onboard tank. Heidi wants train horns.
What Jeepers Creepers?
She wants Jeepers Creepers horns. If you've never seen that movie, go check it out. So we're out of here. Let me go ahead and get everything flushed out and disconnected outside, and we'll be on our way to the dealer. Good morning, YouTube, and welcome back to the house. Of course, like I said, we got to get some stuff loaded up in the truck. As you may have seen the post that I put on Facebook or Instagram or both, and if you guys aren't following us on Instagram or Facebook, you want to do that because you'll always get a little bit of information prior to it happening on YouTube. The window and that window. So let's go ahead and tell you the story so you guys that have just joined on with us get caught up. We bought the RV brand new, and the first winter and the only winter that it has seen was pretty mild. It wasn't bad at all, and that was basically last winter. So during last winter, at the very beginning of last winter, I noticed that I had some water on the kitchen cabinet inside, and upon inspection, closer inspection, I found that the kitchen window was leaking, and it was running around the frame, and it was entering inside the RV on the kitchen cabinet. So immediately my fears are, well, if there's water going inside the cabinet or inside the RV, man, I wonder how much is running in between the walls and, you know, elsewhere. Well, I couldn't find it elsewhere. And the way these windows are designed, it really shouldn't leak anywhere else but either outside or inside. And when I say leak outside, there's really no way for it to leak. At that point, the water's just running off the way that it's designed to. So I called the RV dealer and I said, hey, listen, I have a leaky window, and what do you guys think? And he said, listen, you could bring it in. It's just a foam seal though. However, we found that if we put a bead of silicone across the top of the window, that usually that's all it takes. That's usually all it takes. Usually it's just a kind of like a helper. And that makes sense because when we have worked on our old RV, our old Terry camper, and even on this RV from the factory, even though all these lights have seals on them, and the backup camera has a seal on it, they always put a bead of silicone on top. You can see here, there's a bead of silicone, and it's all for the top. That's it. It just covers the top. And that's to help keep the water from running down at a great rate and attacking that foam seal that's behind there. And again, all those lights, they have the same thing, and they've been doing that in the industry for years. Our Terry camper, all of the lights, I could replace the bulbs and the lenses would never come completely off. I just kind of folded them up because there was a silicone seal there that was staying flexible after all those years, that kept the again, the water from running behind and attacking that foam seal, because it is foam. I mean, even this here, you can see there's a bead of silicone on top of it. That's just to help, again, with the water to leave, to go on either side instead of straight down. So I went ahead and I put a bead of silicone, and the way the water was attacking this RV, mentioning the winter, was I had an ice dam going on there. We had a couple of pretty good rains that froze, and some snow that piled up on that lip for that hinge, and that's how the water was getting in. So I did, once it dried, I took my air gun when I still had an air compressor, and I blew all that out really good, and I put that bead of silicone on, and that stopped it. It never even come close to leaking again. Now, fast forward, I never had an issue with the back window at all, except when we went on our Pirate Land trip. Pirate Land down in Myrtle Beach. We had a get-together down there. Thanks again for everybody that showed up. That was a blast. And we had a bad storm, a really, really harsh storm.
and this window leaked. I mean, the water that was coming in, it was like there was a straw that was from the outside to the inside. So Mark's Adventures, Marcus and Michelle, who was right next to us, he said, listen, I have some silicone. He says, if you want to put a bead of silicone on there, that should help. And I'm thinking, well, of course, that's what we did on the other side. Great. So instead of running to Walmart and buying something, he had something there. And I went ahead and I put a bead of silicone up there relatively quick. It was hot out. It was, 90 degrees maybe. And I put a bead of silicone all the way across the top. Well, the next rain that we had, it still came through. There was water coming through, not even close at the same rate. It was very gradual, but there was some drips that would run down the back of the wall of the RV. And again, my fear was, oh my word, if all this is coming in, wonder how much is getting in between the wall and everything else. Now, to confirm what I was told by Rockwood when we went and took the factory plant tour, when they had this window out, I looked, and Azdel, he told us all these Rockwood ultralights for years, they've been using Azdel in the back wall. Not on the sides, not anywhere else. It's all Luan everywhere else. And again, I confirmed that when they had that window out, which we'll get to here in the story. But it is Luan in the back. But I was concerned still that I had all this water running in, and I thought, great, it's going to get to the floor. It's going to, soften the floor. Even though this stuff is 5/8 tongue and screwed and glued plywood that's through the entire floor. Eventually, water's going to damage that once it gets to it. Wood is organic, and it just can't handle it. So we went ahead and I told Heidi, I said, I need to get up there and see why it's still leaking, because I did put silicone on there. Well, I got back up there and I seen that whenever I put that silicone, because of the heat, because of me being in a rush, I'm not sure, I didn't get a good bead all the way across. I found that there were openings up top. So at that point, I peeled out and took out all the silicone that I'd put on at Pirate Land, and I put some new sealant all the way across, real good bead all the way across. It was a little messy, but nonetheless, it was a good solid bead all the way across in between the glass and the fiberglass of the RV. And that was it. It quit. We've never had any leaks, none after that. So basically, these windows needed resealed. They were, whenever I had done some research and I was trying to figure out why the back window was leaking, I found that the opening is much bigger than the window frame, much bigger than I would have cut if I was to install these windows. But they are a rush sort of whenever they're putting them together, and the opening's a little bit bigger than the framework that goes into the RV. And basically what happened was they just needed to lift the window and then clamp it in. And I think that they might have. However, after owning it and traveling to Myrtle Beach and a bunch of other places, and it going down the road and bouncing, I think the window shifted down and that opening exposed itself. So whenever we got that harsh rain, it just came in, and that was the first time. So Heidi had called the manufacturer direct and talked to Forest River, and they said, no problem. I know that your unit shows that it's actually like a month out of warranty, but since you had this problem prior, we'll replace both windows. We'll replace your back window, we'll replace the front window. Well, there was some talk. I told Heidi, I said, well, I don't know if I want them replaced at this point, because neither one of them leak. There's no issues, neither one of them leak. All I know for sure all they need is resealed. But if they're willing to send us 2 more windows and do the work, I'll go ahead and take the time, take the effort, and make the appointment and see what it's going to take to get these windows in. So, of course, we took this up to the RV dealer, and that was our trip to Genesee State Park that we did not just recently, not just a couple days ago, but prior to that. We stayed one day at Genesee Lake Park, and then we went up to the dealer, and he looked at it, and he took pictures, he took measurements, He got the VIN number and, of course, the model number. The manufacturer date, of course, was off the VIN number. Everything. He took pictures of the numbers that were on the glass, all of that. And he told us, he said, okay, I don't know what's going to happen with the whole coronavirus thing. Everybody's behind on parts. However, I'll go ahead and put this order in. I said, okay, I understand. You have no idea when it's going to come in. We're going to be in Florida at some point. So if they come in then, what do you want to do? And I had also talked to the parts guy about that, and he's the one that actually told me, listen, maybe they can ship the windows, you know, to where you're at, and they can install them, you know, there. And I'm like, you know, I don't know if I want to go through all that trouble, but hopefully they come in before we leave. So fast forward to this trip we just took to Genesee Lake Park, and that was because we wanted to spend some time at that park. We liked it so much, but then we were going to go to the dealer and have these windows replaced because they did come in, and they came in before we planned on leaving, which is great, right? So we went up to the dealer, and they because of their service schedule and how busy they are inside, they knew that replacing these windows were only going to take a short amount of time. So they pulled around the vehicle in the back, and we could go out and watch, and I kind of not really lent a hand, but you know, I kind of stuck my nose in a couple times and was watching what they were doing. I thought it was kind of cool. So we got some pictures here. You can see, had the windows out, and you can see also, I took a picture of the window while I was out of the frame, and you could see the gray part of the opening in the window on the back. That is the Asdel product. It's definitely there. That's Asdel. If you guys don't know, that's what it looks like. And then you can see in the kitchen window here, basically the same picture, looking down on the opening, and you can see the Luan. You know, it's a lighter color. It's not gray. It's just a lighter color. So the main thing I was looking at in both of those situations when they had the windows out was that there is absolutely not a single drop, discoloration, nothing as far as water that has protruded inside. It's not in there. No water got in between the walls at all, because I was going to have a fit if I seen that, because where water goes, it grows, and I didn't see that at all. So they brought out the window and they replaced the kitchen window first because it was smaller. And they really nice guys, all those guys up there. Joe, he's in charge of service, and the other two guys, I can't remember their names now. Gosh darn it, sorry guys, but did really good work. They were out there shooting the bull, and they went to get the big window in the back, and I went ahead and stepped inside, and I was going to take some pictures of the kitchen window once it was installed, and I noticed something, and I'm like, oh no, this isn't good. Maybe it's just my imagination. Maybe I'm just forgetting what it looked like. And then they had the big window, and they started putting in the big window in the back, and I looked at the big window in the back, and I stepped in and I told the guys, I said, hey, I can't have these windows in here. And I know that kind of, they were okay with everything, but I mean, it was just like a no-win situation. It was a no-win situation for them, other than they could submit labor that they did work. But it was no win for me too. And the thing is the windows that came in were not double pane windows. Double pane windows I paid extra for on this entire RV. Those double pane windows make a difference. I noticed they're a little darker, and they seem to have a little bit less moisture build up on them. It's just a thicker glass. When the heat's beating down on the back wall, not like today because it's so cool, but we've been in situations in the summer here, and we always have our RV kind of facing the south. This back window being this thick glass that it is, that's not cool. That's not cool that it's single pane now. That's why I paid for double pane. Matter of fact, those double pane windows added overall, all the way around the RV, 200 pounds to the weight of the RV. That's how much thicker they are. I mean, it's thick. The glass is thick. I don't know how else to describe it. So I told him, I said, listen, basically the windows just needed to be installed correctly, and they needed to be resealed for them not to leak. There's nothing wrong with the windows themselves. can you just put in the old kitchen window? Can you put the old window back in? But we'll install it correctly this time. And again, he didn't have a problem with it, but I mean, I could see some, everybody is kind of disappointed about the whole thing because new parts weren't going in. But he did. We shook hands. Everything was good. I have no bad feelings about the situation. He didn't have bad feelings about the situation. It just kind of sucked. It's kind of like we wasted our time. And that's basically it. I wasted my time driving up there the first time and having them look at it. He wasted his time taking all those pictures, measurements, all that crap, submitting the paperwork, ordering the parts, getting the parts in. I wasted my time driving back up there again. They wasted their time taking out the windows. Well, I shouldn't say they wasted their time because they are going to submit a bill for that, for the labor. But it was a waste. It was a waste, but the ultimate outcome of this, we had rain last night and I didn't have any water come in. Now, I'm going to take our hose and I'm going to just douse the back window. And I feel what he feels. He says, I have no doubt that back window was too low. We put some shims in the bottom underneath the window frame to hold it up while it got tightened down, and that way it can't slide down as you go down the road. I think that's what they should have done from the factory in the first place. Now the gap's not so big that because we slid it up, that it's now opened a gap on the bottom. It's not like that. The gap in the bottom is just the window centered in the hole now, instead of being all at the bottom and open at top. And the same with this window here. Now, he said on this window, he doesn't know 100% sure if that one's going to seal, but so far so good. Again, I'll take a hose, I'll douse it all, and again, if it leaks, I know what to do. Worst case scenario is get a bead of sealant and just run it across the top. I have no problem with that bead of sealant. It wasn't an eyesore or anything like that, and it did the job, just like all these other bead of sealants do for all the other openings on the RV. I mean, it's not a bad thing. So whenever I posted windows fixed, maybe, I just don't know yet. Now let's get into what we're doing and what we talked about on our trip back, and that was Heidi and I were going to be loading the truck up when we got home here of all the stuff in the garage, and we're going to streamline some of this. I got looking through there, and I keep on telling Heidi, I don't think I need all this stuff. I really don't think I need all this stuff. I would rather have the back of my truck in the RV nice and neat and less clutter free. I don't want the clutter. That's why we're getting rid of all this stuff at the house. I would rather have things functional and working and easily accessible than having extra stuff that requires me to dig through 4 other things to get to it. Although it'd be nice in case of emergencies or stuff like that, I'm not worried about that. I don't want to go overboard with what I'm doing, and I've already streamlined a lot. Really, guys, a whole bunch. I'm going to streamline even more, and I'm going to make it very basic. I'm going to make it very easy for us to get to everything and use everything when we get to our sites. So, even with that said, there's still going to be a fair amount of weight added to the back of the truck. Now, the RV, we have yet to get it weighed, which we will get it weighed. Our scales are just up the hill here. But I want to get the back of the truck loaded up. And I know that I'm going to be adding, with my toolbox, with all that paraphernalia we have back there, and with Heidi's electric bike, my electric bike, did I say bike, and some other stuff that's back there. I'm adding some weight to the back of the truck, and also I got that 42-gallon freshwater tank that's in the truck that may or may not be filled at some point. I think that tank's going to be pushed off to the side, and if we use it, we use it. If we don't, we don't. I haven't decided on that. I have all the components. Heidi says, why don't you just keep it as long as it fits? Just keep it in there, and if you need it, if you find that you don't need it after a couple of years or a year, then maybe get rid of it. So we'll go with that for now, and we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, I was still concerned about all the extra weight that we're going to be putting on the truck. and not so much that it's going to be a problem for the truck. The truck has a payload of 4,000 pounds. You know, 1,000 pounds, over 1,000 pounds of that payload is the tongue on the back of the truck. So I still can put, you know, another 3 grand inside the truck there as far as weight goes. I know with all the extra weight that we just put in the RV, now that we're fully loaded, and all the weight we're going to have back here, which just ignore this, I've just been throwing stuff back here since we got back. Even Heidi's bike, I just threw it back here. That's going to be something that I need to address before we even hook up the truck. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and install these, when you see I'm already kind of in the process, and then play around with them. I think all I'll do is, I can't imagine going over 35 psi at the absolute most. This is just from my own knowledge of these things. I think that most likely I'll be in the maybe 20 pound range if I was empty back here. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and load these things up. And I just wanted to make it clear, I'm not doing this for weight distribution reasons. I'm doing this for truck load reasons, what I'm putting in the back of the truck. I want to make sure that the truck stays pretty darn close to what it should be. Once the stuff's in there, I expect a little bit of weight to be transferred throughout the truck because of the load. And then whenever I put the trailer on and the truck squats, it won't have started at such a low rate. I mean, I have all my weight distribution and everything set up for my truck with basically nothing in the bed of the truck to speak of. Now I'm getting ready to add all this weight into the truck, and that's going to bring the truck suspension down a little bit. And I'm going to be hooking up to a trailer that has, you know, the ProPride hitch on it, and being set up for a truck that was hooked up to it that was empty. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that we're close to what the truck is when it's empty and fully loaded as far as height. Then we'll go ahead and work on the weight distribution and make sure that it's just like it used to be. Again, I was hoping though to only do maybe 5 inches, and I might be able to, because the truck will squat a little bit less with the airbags. Again, it's all about adjustments. Now here's the problem that I have. So many people are doing these things the wrong way, and I want to make this very clear. If you're going to use airbags with a travel trailer, you want to set up your truck with all the weight and everything you're going to carry, and you want to set up the airbag system to make that load, this ain't even taking consideration of the trailer, make that load operate and work as best as possible. You know, as far as the truck going down the road, the way it rides, the squat that it experienced when you put all the crap in the back of the truck. Adjust the truck first with the airbags. That's what you should do first. Once you get that adjusted, the way you're going to be traveling, then you hook up your travel trailer, and then you adjust your weight distribution. You may have to put a little less in, you might have to put a little more in, and I'm talking about torsion bar tension, not air. That you're done with the air. The air is to set up the truck and the load in the truck. You got to keep on reminding yourself of that. That airbag is set up for your truck and the load you have in the truck, making it as stock riding and as comfortable as possible with all the stuff you have in it. Once you get that set, don't touch the airbag unless the pressure is dropped or increased because of temperature outside. You know, if it's colder out, you might have to put a little air in it. If it's warmer out, you might have to take a little air out to keep you right at the pressure that you set it up at when the truck wasn't hooked up to a trailer. Then when you hook up to your trailer and you experience a little bit more squat and a little bit more down on the trailer and up on the front of the truck feeling, you know, that typical V, then that's what the weight distribution's for. That way that weight can be transferred back to the axles on the trailer and back to the front axle on the truck. Just be aware, you're not going to get in there. So many people will get in and hook up their weight distribution bars and go, oh, my truck's still sagging. Let me put 100 pounds on my airbags. I'll be good then. And that takes away everything. That puts all that weight on the rear axle. The weight that was being redistributed to the front of the truck and back to the trailer axles, now gets put on the rear axle, and it doesn't do any good. So that's what I want you guys to be aware of. That's what I'm doing today, and I know this was a long explanation, but I wanted to make sure that you guys are very clear on what is going on, what I said prior, and how this is affecting us now and what we're looking at doing with these airbags now. And good news, Heidi's car is already sold. We've got somebody coming. She's going to be notarizing the title, and then they're going to be coming at about 6 o'clock tonight, and they'll be driving off with it. So it only lasted just a few days. We lowered the price $100 in the 7 days that we had it listed. So that was good, because we were just planning on parking her car, as you've seen in the last video that we posted. We're just going to park the car in the garage and just worry about it in the spring. But we don't have to worry about that now. Now we just got to get our house sold. By the way, St. Joseph, he found a place in our home. We'll see what happens here. He's out in our garden out front, or the flower garden. So fingers crossed. Let's see if that works. That's a little better. We got a little bit more sunshine this morning. It was kind of hard me showing you what was going on last night. Let me show you what I'm doing with the airbags, because the one bracket that I have set up in there is not sitting on what they call the jounce bumper well enough. So I'm going to end up lowering that a little bit. Again, the fit looks real good. This truck. Where's all this water coming from? I'll tell you where it's coming from. Frickin' frost. It's bad. It was bad last night. It got cold. Heidi, of course, her car sold, and she got up this morning and says, I don't have any creamer for my coffee. She had to walk over to the dollar store. I told her, I said, well, you can take your bike, but it's cold enough that, man, that wind chill, just the short ride over there even. So she said, no, I walked. She said it was all frosty out in the yard. So I got to dry that off. Maybe dry some of this off, and then I'm going to get underneath there and just re-engineer it a little bit. It's pretty self-explanatory. If I re-engineer it just the right way, maybe we'll be in good shape for moving forward this point on. I'll tell you what I'd like to do, and I could do it easily, is cut these and use these as a spacer. Again, I don't expect you guys to understand what's going on underneath there, but the bracket is being supported by itself and its bolts, and it's supposed to support the weight of the truck using the jounce tongue that comes out. That one plate needs to land on it a little bit more. So as soon as I get this taken care of, all the stuff comes out of the truck and we start packing it. Today is packing day, and we're going to see what the weight looks like then at that point. I think these airbags will work out okay. They did drop a considerable amount of pressure overnight. We were at about close to 55 degrees, maybe a little warmer, probably not, about 55 degrees when I finished this up last night, and I filled both airbags with 80, and overnight I dropped down to 45 pounds. So needless to say, an air compressor might be something that we want to install at some point, because that's a huge drop. But then again, if you guys don't understand it, or if you never really worked with them before, those airbags will load up and start filling up with pressure again as the heat starts being entered into them. And the way that heat happens is by that air and by it jouncing down the road. Listen to that noise. Sad part is I go out here with this truck that's quiet as anything and just blow him off the road, but he got to sound loud. Screw this area. I'm done with the traffic. So the airbags are on, and took it for a little drive. Put 7 pounds of pressure in it, and I went and jumped over some bridges and stuff. You guys know how I am. And it did real well. So I think we're good there. We're fine as far as the airbags. So what we need to do now is what? Watch Heidi do her phone.
I didn't know you was getting. I thought you was gonna be talking long.
No, I'm not talking long today. I'm tired.
Load up the truck.
So the first thing we need to do before we load up the truck is empty the truck. And then what we'll do, I mean, I'm pretty good at organizing, and it doesn't look like it, but I'm pretty good at organizing and figuring out how to get the most crap in little spots. Obviously, the big stuff. This is where the problem sort of kind of kicks in. Some of the big stuff you have to access, and you want to get out. But right now, I don't think that's so much a priority because we don't know. We don't know what we need to access. There's a few things. Our grill, we want to access that. That's not a big thing. We want to be able to access our bikes, which I don't have my bike. That's a big thing. And I think I already mentioned to you guys what we're doing about the bike. And again, if you didn't see, Heidi said bye-bye to her car yesterday. The gentleman came and got the car, drove it away, and everybody's happy. And here's the funny thing.
Now I don't have no wheels.
She has no wheels. She's had to walk over to the Family Dollar a couple times because I was working on the truck. She has the bicycle, but it's in the back of the truck. And again, I was working on the truck, so I had the whole tailgate covered with stuff. But
It didn't kill me to walk over there.
here's the best thing. How you guys could go back and check. How long do we have that car?
It was probably 2 years.
So we bought the car, drove it for 2 years, made some repairs. Well, put tires on it and put struts on it and
Coil
brakes.
springs.
Yeah, some coil springs. Nothing crazy. We probably had maybe,
$1,000.
yeah, about $1,000 in repairs over the last 2 years, just maintenance and fixing stuff. And we sold it for the exact same price we paid for it. So
Actually, with tax and everything, I actually sold it for more than what I really paid for it.
Right. But it's a great car. I mean, I hope that whenever we come down to a point where we have to get a second car again for whatever
Find
reason,
something like that.
we can find something like that because that was just a great car. All right, so let us get busy here. And again, going back to accessing stuff, like this big canopy and that. If we get somewhere and we need to get it out, maybe I have to bring out 7 totes to get to it. I don't know, but we do want to get the the truck loaded up, and we want to get that done today. Now, there's a couple things that we've already decided on, and that is my red toolbox there, and this toolbox goes on top of this toolbox, and then this toolbox goes on top of both of those. That is going to be in the back of the truck, so we can access it
And
easily.
It's semi-organized with stuff.
Yes, yeah,
Actually, it's pretty organized with stuff.
yeah.
Which made it nice.
And the whole reason is if we break down on the side of the road or something, I want to be able to open Heidi's passenger door, the door behind Heidi's side, and be able to get to this toolbox relatively quick. Also, this toolbox will be a little bit further in. If I need to get to it, I can get to it. We'll just have to see. But this one I want to get access to because, I mean, I use this all the time. These other tools, obviously, we use too, but that's the thing. Now, as far as all these tools, I have one bag that I need to carry with us that has tools for connecting and disconnecting the RV. But as far as all these other tools, they'll go in this bag, and most likely they'll go inside this box. And in this box, it will be up in the truck a ways. So again, we have some stuff to put in there, and we're going to be, the space will go relatively quick, but I think we're still going to be in pretty good shape. The stuff that's in there, that's something else that I need to be able to access relatively quick. The mast, the antenna mast for our Wii Boost, and the over the tire step. I need that to get up into the truck a little easier. We'll see how this all pans out. As far as the water tank that's in the front, I think I'm going to go ahead and just connect the hoses to it and stand it up out of the way. If we need it, then at that point we'll put it down and we'll fill it up. But I don't think that I can necessarily load that up, all the stuff up, with that tote in the front taking up the space that's there. So let's put it in perspective. Heidi's got some work that she's doing in the basement. on the house just to make it look a little bit nicer in the basement, just in that one section of the wall that's been all flaky. But once this truck is packed up and we get rid of the rest of the stuff that's in the garage that's just hanging around, that's it. We're gone. We're out of here. So something to make us motivated.
Someone thinks he's a macho man
I am a macho man.
until he picks up stuff that I told him to empty out before we picked it up.
No, that's not what you said. You said, hey, see if you can pick that up.
I did not.
Oh my God.
So he hurt his lower back.
I haven't done that in a long time.
So he's only going to be down for 24 hours. You don't have a choice.
Oh.
I bet if that was me, I'd still have to keep moving.
I couldn't move. There's no way.
Even if I couldn't move, he'd still make me move.
That's not true. Heidi's never thrown out her back, just for the record.
Not yet.
So my lower back, years ago, I tried to pick up a toolbox that was too heavy, and it was kind of awkward, and something snapped in my back, my lower back. And it was really bad back then. I mean, really, really bad. And then I recovered after about 3 weeks. About 3 weeks, right? Remember, I laid in bed for like 3 days, and then I used crutches for so many days.
Yeah. I went to work every day. I don't know.
Yeah. So it was bad. And then probably about a year after that, I just went out to turn on our fan that was sitting on our porch, and I bent down early in the morning when I first got up, which I've learned since then I need to like warm up and stretch before I do that kind of stuff in the morning. And all of a sudden my back started spasming up real bad. Now it didn't pop or anything like that like the other time. The very first time it was like something just hit a nerve. It was so bad. But the second time was just this really bad muscle spasm that kicked in, and I think within a couple of days I straightened out. So
Actually, you went to the ER.
oh, that's right. Yeah, we went to the ER.
Yeah.
And
So
they ended up giving us just some pills.
yeah, they're just
So
it's just a healing thing.
So whenever we were out working today, well, all day yesterday I worked on the airbags on the truck. So I was rolling around. That's some work that I haven't done, kind of work I haven't done in years. And then today I did a bunch of work underneath for the airbags on the truck too. Which, by the way, I took it for a test drive, and so far so good. Which obviously you guys, it's on this video. Which who knows when I'll get to edit this now. Get the laptop in here. So the fact that it's kind of cold outside, and I was doing all that work for the last couple days, and I mean I was in and out of the back of the truck. Heidi was in and out of the back of the truck, and we were picking up a lot of stuff. But that big job box, no, not exaggerating, it had to be about 100 pounds, probably about 100 pounds. But the problem is it's like this, and I picked it up okay, but as soon as I got it, when I was straightening up to get it to the height of my tailgate, sit it on my tailgate, that was it. It just, I had to drop it, and my back just started tightening up a lot. It almost put me down on my knees a couple times. So Heidi's playing nurse. I got a heating pad. Hey, get this. I didn't know a heating pad only pulls about 0.5 amps. Not less than an amp, even when it's on high. So I told her to throw away the heating pad a long time ago, and she didn't. She kept it, and man, am I glad she did. So I went ahead and took what the doctor prescribed years ago, my muscle relaxers, Flexerol or whatever, and then like Percocet, whatever that other thing is, with pain medicine that's in it. But when Heidi came in looking for the heating pad, we ran into a weird problem, and I don't know if you guys ever experienced this. There's a lot of moisture that's up in that corner of the cabinet, but
It's all on, Heidi says it's all on top and the front wall. It's not...
It's not the wood that holds these cabinets. You know, there's a wood strip all the way across. It's only above.
That's weird.
I mean, I'm glad I caught it when I did. I think it's because it's not insulated up there, and it was cold last night. It just seems like a little condensation.
Well, that seemed like a lot of condensation.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know.
Why would it be behind blankets, though? Or sheets.
Well,
That's what I understand.
it's because they were touching the wall.
They were touching the wall,
Yeah.
but they were also insulating it from seeing any heat.
Yeah.
So how did it get there?
So we have our little dehumidifier up there, so hopefully that'll dry it out, and then we'll have to address the issue of the leaking roof.
If the roof is leaking, which of course I can't tell, I won't be able to get up there. I don't. The thing is no water run anywhere.
Yeah, it's not. It was only not even halfway.
So Heidi don't, and I don't know. I don't remember. She don't think these front caps are insulated, which I thought that they were. I was pretty sure that they put a piece of Luan with batting in it, and then they put the cap on it.
Well, don't feel insulated at all.
We'll have to
at any time. It was cold in
check
there.
to see if we can find our Rockwood.
Yeah, it's all up there. Oh, yeah.
See if we see if we get any pictures that showed them putting that together. So, anyways, that's what I'm doing. I'm
X-laxing. You can watch YouTube videos probably.
Yeah, just sit in here and see if I can have Heidi bring me some food.
He already ate, so
yeah, but
that's part of our problem.
No, not at all. My belly was countering the amount of weight that was needed to lift that. It was a counterbalance.
Well, I'm gonna go make myself a cup of coffee and sit in the recliner that we don't have. The rocker. And X-lax a little, or maybe smoke a cigarette outside while he's got his shower and a heating pad.
You should turn around and talk to the camera.
They don't want to see me.
Yeah, they do. They don't want to
Anyway,
see me.
all right. So I'm gonna go and make myself a cup of coffee and relax. My back hurts too, but my knee hurts more than my back. We're out of shape. I know, round's of shape. Anyway, we'll see you later. Bye.
Good morning, YouTube. Yes. Doon doon doon. Doon doon doon. Maybe one more. So I am out of bed. I still got a bunch of muscle relaxers in my system, and it's very tender back there. I got up. I got dressed. I walked into the house because Heidi got started. See, this is what happens whenever I tell her that like something like this. We're going to pack up the truck and we're going to leave. But she can't sit still. I understand. And she didn't want to just do nothing whenever I was laid up in the bed. So our neighbor came over before I hurt my back. And he was telling her, so she already had it in her mind, that she should paint the basement, paint the walls with dry lock, which we've done that in the past. We did the freezer room with dry lock in the past because we were actually going to consider that to be a room at one point. We're going to make it a room, carpet it, the whole thing. Glad we didn't though. But anyway, she did some kind of she's painting the basement, and like I said, I can't blame her because I'm like I said, I'm kind of worthless at this point. It's funny because it seems like I can lift and carry and everything that I normally do, you know. There's my do-do-do. A couple of 7-gallon water jugs at a time, no problem. If I have to, 4 bags of salt at a time, no problem. So whenever that big job box that I've been talking about, that big Husky job box, we loaded it up with most of my tools and a bunch of other stuff, and I went to pick it up and it was heavy, and Heidi, there's no way she could have carried one side and me carry the other. It'd been too much for her.
So I thought, well, if I can just get it up high enough for the tailgate, I should be okay. And anyways, that didn't work out so well. I got it up quite a bit, and then my back started going. I just dropped it. So I caught it. It didn't pop. My back didn't pop or anything like that, but there's a lot of stuff going on in my lower back. So what I'm going to do is take it easy for today. I did get up. I'm walking around, so that's much better. And I thought I'd go ahead and edit this video and get it posted for you guys. So the next video that you'll see from us, I don't know exactly when it will be, but next video you'll see from us is definitely going to be packing the rest of the truck and getting weights, weighing everything out, and heading out, just starting to head south. I wish I could show you, but I can't. It'll have to be on the next video. Our son's home. He left New Jersey. He's on his way out west somewhere, and he wants to stay here for a few days and just hang out with us, which is great. But yeah, he's been in his van for a while now. Now, as far as him actually living in his van, he lives out of his van, but there was a pretty good period of time there that he said that he was staying in a cabin with some friends in New Jersey. So he's still out there doing it, though. He's traveling, so good for him. He worked at a farm briefly, some kind of a farm that's out in Vermont. He was in Vermont for a little bit, and yeah, he's not going to do the sugar beet this year, obviously. And like I said, he just wants to head out west. Told him, I said, good luck getting there, because he's wanting to shoot across the top of the country, and if some snow starts moving in, he's going to run into some problems. But hopefully he can make the coast and everything will be okay. So I guess that's it. I'll see how this video turns out, and as always, guys, we hope to see you out there. Bye.